Yeah. Okay. Again, good morning. Uh, Thank you for inviting me to this meeting, and I will present this material on behalf of Ministry. I hope they agree. But this material, actually, I presented it in 2016 on behalf of Ministry of Agriculture in OECD meeting in France. So I hope still representing the ministers, and I think very also related to our conference today and tomorrow. So so at the time from 2010 until 2014, I was a member of expert team in the ministers, and what we conducted there is the development of bioeconomy in the grand strategy of Indonesia. And the main purpose of the time is how to improve the income of the people, especially in the rural area. So, but let me focus on what's the presentation I will give you is bioeconomy in Indonesia, grand strategy of Indonesia agricultural development, sustainable agricultural bioindustry system. So actually, this is the most important when we prepare this grand strategy. And I will give you the closing note. So it's nice to mention that when we started introducing bioeconomy in Indonesia in 2011, it's almost the same time when the bioeconomy also introduced in Europe. Unfortunately, we didn't pick it nationally. At the time, only Minister of Agriculture who really like to adopt the idea, although later on, the Committee of Industry and Economy also adopted. But the most important again, the people of Indonesia in many parts of Indonesia adopted the idea. So let me, this is at the time why they have to move to bioeconomy. Some people say there is already a digital technology, there is another technology in between, but there is tendency to move to green technology. And what is meaning with the bioeconomy is the world of biologicals. So it's a bioscience could produce the next wave of innovation in product and services across a range of economy and activities about health, agriculture, industry, and energy. So it's really related to our discussion in this conference. So what is bioeconomy? Bio-based economy in general is the use of renewable green sources to produce chemical, material, product, and transport fuels. Of course, this definition have been repeated, changed many times, but the idea is still focus on biological tools and product from renewable resources to create wealth and sustainability in production of medical treatment, diagnosis, more nutritional food, energy, and so on. So why then so important for Indonesia, this bioeconomy? Because Indonesia is located in this mega diverse country. Actually, there is another country that had been mentioned many times, like Brazil also own this a lot of mega diversity. But actually, Indonesia play more important because if you count it per the density for the soil, actually Indonesia is the one of the largest one of the diversity in the world. This one. Second, Indonesia also stay in the top tropical belt of the world, meaning when you sort bioeconomy, as I present to you later, what you talk is the source of energy for life, which is sunshine. So this the two things become very important for Indonesia because we have diversity, but we have also plenty of sunshine. This is my presentation when we start meeting in the ministries long time ago. So we have cassava, of course. We have this sorghum. We have also sugarcane, but sometimes also we forgot about also sweet grass. So this is sweet grass. This is in the United States that has been exploited to produce many things. But also I will explain later on that we have also improved the cassava productivity in Indonesia, like we have conducted also in the other area. But we have also plenty of source of lipids, like this palm oil, sorry, we have also yes, Ritalis Trispersma, we have also Jatropha, but we have so many other things, sources of this lipid in Indonesia. That's make Indonesia become important for the bioeconomy in the world. But this friend of mine that I met a long time ago, he is the person leading in the microalga in the world. They start to develop microalga. Why the microalga become one of the future sources of material in the world? Because it produces about 20 or 50,000 liters per hectare per year. If you compare it to palm oil, it's about 3 to 10 times, say 9 times productivity. Well, of course, we have also conducted in earlier in 2000 that also conducted by utilizing fuels. We conducted to run the car from the eastern part of Indonesia to the palace. This is, if you look at this here, this is our president, former president, SBA. This is myself, and this is my friend. They have stick together to develop bioeconomy in Indonesia. In my presentation, I will talk about him later on because he's very important in the development of bioeconomy in Indonesia. Well, so what we have done and what actually related to the strategy that have been developed in the Ministry of Agriculture, that we try to combine many sources of lipid to many sources of starch, but also many technologies such a way that you can produce many different products. I think, of course, we can change this kind of technology of also change the source of bioresources. The idea is that we can produce different kind of product from different kind of different kind of resources. This is very important because by having different kind of product, then we can reduce the cost of processing. Actually, this is the idea of the strategy that we developed a long time ago in the ministries. Okay, many times when I presented this bioeconomy in many opportunity, also when I invited also outside of the world, I still remind people during the colony, because when Indonesia occupied by the Dutch, actually the Dutch colonized really know how to put it very blunt word, try to exploit the natures, yeah? But maybe better way to say that they know how to utilize the sources of Indonesia. I say many times in Europe that Dutch government get rich at the time because they know how to utilize the source of energy of Indonesia, in particular the bio resources. But let me focus this one, because when people ask me many times, Mr. Manurung, why is so enthusiastic of develop this bioeconomy? And I say, look, let's see this the richest people in Indonesia in 2015. If you look at that, at the time, of course, some critic for them, these people, the rich people, only 3.9 ppm, yeah? But they own the 6.2% of GDP. Yes, and they can see this one, the 0.2% of the richest people in Indonesia own 50% of the plantation properties. So and 1% of Indonesian population owns 70%. This is a critic to these people, but also critic to the government. But on the other hand, what important thing to mention about those people, if you look at how those people to get rich, most of them get rich from the bio resources. This is very important to mention. I keep saying this one in my classes, that look, bioresources of Indonesia, very important and very potential to make Indonesian get rich. But most important, this is very irony. In one side, the richest people in Indonesia get their property from the bioresources, but on the other side, the poorest of Indonesia, also those people who dealing with bioresources. So this is the why then it's so important to have this strategy. How can improve the life of those people who are dealing with this this dealing with bioresources. And in particular, very easy. And now I'm involved also in this program. If you like to compare those people who own palm oil plantation, as you know that we have almost 13 million hectare plantation in Indonesia, and about 50% of them, maybe 45% of them, is to belong to the people. But those people, poor people who own this plantation, they are so poor. But on the other side, those people who work also with the palm plantation so rich, So why there's two different of people working with the same source of bioresources, but have different achieve different economic. Of course, we know that one have access to the market, one access to the money, to the fund, but the most important, the one access to technology, and another one didn't have access to technology. And this is very important to mention why we have to move to the bioeconomy. Okay, so on the large scale, so important when we talk about sustainable agriculture, it's very important that, of course, we know in the level of farmers, they know the input of energy, but they know how important all these things, But on the other hand, also the very important also there should be political system, a social system, economical system that could support all these people who really work in the farmers. This thing we have to promote in many ways, but of course also from the university point of view. So what actually the grand strategy that we developed some time ago? Yes, let me show you. This we have the book that decided Pertanian Bioindustri Berkelanjutan, Sustainable Agriculture and Bioindustries. And at the time, this is the theme. I'm staying there. This is all director general, and this is in the middle some ministers at the time. So we form a quite strong group to develop this book, but also to implement it. And this is the reason why Indonesia at the time invited by the OECD, because they see that we are one of the leading country in introducing the bioeconomy in Indonesia, in the world, through Indonesia. So what actually the challenges in agriculture? So there is a scarcity of fossil fuels, high demand for food, global climate, scarcity of competition, and so on. But what we like to improve, that transformation to bioenergy, urgency for the development of sustainable bio-based product, adaptation, mitigation capacity, efficiency and conservation, eco-farming and bioservices, and pluricultures and income generation for farmers. And in the end, all the thing we can reach through bioeconomy. So the conceptual design of this strategy is development of the level of national economy. So what is that? Transformation of economy from fossil-based economy to bio-based economy. Paradigm of agriculture for development. Agriculture as the basis for stimulating the national economy and development for agriculture. This is very important. So you should put agriculture as the basis for stimulating the national economy. But also important development at the level of agricultural sectors. Development sustainable agriculture by industry system. So this is also we try to develop in the ministry at the time by develop many pilot plan for agriculture and bio-industrial system. So what is the objective? I will mention a few of these. To provide references in the preparation of all documents of national and regional development plan, produce an instrument for the coordination, integration, generate political energy, and encourage national discourse, and provide references for engineers, scientists, educators, and so we have conducted this one. And we have a lot of meetings with different places during 4 years in 2010 to 2014. So what is of course, this is very important, and then this is the basic principle how to get to good economy. We need a good governance. We need a good policy and program, inclusive sustainable development, paradigm of agriculture for development, development of sustainable agriculture based on community, environment, agribusiness stakeholders, development of agriculture based on the development of community farming, local resources basis, this is all important, bio-business environment as a public infrastructure, healthy and fair market system. This is again that the basic principle, and we understand and we realize it's not easy, but that's why it's important to share this basic principle in many opportunities, including to this meeting. So prerequisites, as mentioned, politics for development and public policy that emphasize on bio-industrial agriculture, decision-making based on innovation, science, and bioengineering, efficient system connectivity, logistic and value chain, quality, and trustable human resources. So this is sometimes very difficult, decision-making based on innovation and science, but you should try to promote this one. So vision, to realize sustainable agriculture by industry system which produce various healthy food and high added value bio-based product from tropical agricultures and marine bioresources. This is the vision. So at the time also we have of course tried to translate this one to become a mission, and this is one we have to carry out. I'm not going to read this one, but you can have it later on. But what is the direction and target? By implementing this strategy, policy, so we expect in 2030, annual income per capita of the farmers should be between 2,500 in the average. It's quite large. I mean, at least we simulate this one with, as I mentioned, we have a quite big team we have a regular meeting, and then we simulate this one with all our friends from different universities. And we expect also the income of the people at the time should be around 20,000 in 2040. Okay, I will not going to read this one, but what's the most important? So you can reduce the agricultural labor from 39% to 7%. This is very important to mention. If you look at many developed countries, the people involved directly on the agriculture is about 4 to 5%. So the question then, what they do then? So these people then move to other, not on farm, but we say it at off farm. And that's why we can expect it also in 2045, they can increase, become 12%, the people. And part of this one should come from agriculture base. This is the target. Of course, we compare it, we look at the history, how developed countries like United States, Japan, and Europe changed from agriculture to industry. But still, when you talk about industry here, it's included bio-industry, industry based on bio. And this is the roadmap we planned at the time, that in 2050 and 2045. Okay, so this is the policy, of course, and then we have to try to implement it. And let me show you that, of course, we realize at the time, maybe till today, still our Indonesian fellow still doing the agriculture like this. But of course, we move now to mechanization, and of course, we move to automatization. But as we know that the world now is moved already to the Industrial 4.0. What is Industrial 4.0? Is the integration of cyber system to physical system. So in agriculture, we are still far behind. We are still between here. We are not really reached mechanization yet, but some of the already moved. But on the other country already moved to the cyber system and cyber physical system in the industrial 4.0. So we still have left behind that have to carry this one. Okay, so actually I will use this many times. So what is actually the basic of agriculture by industry, that you can harvest the sunshine, but then we processing that one, and all the residue you put back this one. But then if you do this way, then all what you export outside somewhere there, I will show you later on, could be only based on C and carbon and hydrogen, but all the mineral should be circulate to the source of biomass, which is agriculture. Okay, back long history. Actually, ITB already conducted many kind of this one. That in 80, actually, we already starting to introduce this rice mill in the farmers. This is my friend relative to the Sultan. That at the time we processing the rice paddy, and but the same car we use it also for transportation, but also use that for processing the rice. This is an example of very simple integration of biomass production with biomass processing in the rice pit. This is so important that we put back the residue to the rice field. And of course, there is another way we talk about cassava, and then we can do also the same. But also during the time we implemented this one, how to utilize this citronella as a source of feed, but also we get citronella as a main product, but also the ways you're processing that one. So we have another example, important of integrating of biomass production and biomass conversion. This is at the time I always like to introduce: vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision just passes the time. Vision with action can change the world. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.